Hi, my name is Eddie Jennings, and I want to welcome you back to the channel. This is going to be a little impromptu video inspired by a question that I saw on the Learn Music subreddit. And I just finished teaching saxophone lesson, hence the neck strap jewelry here. And there was a question, I believe the username was like Hot Cross Buns 44 maybe, and they were talking about being in, or this may have been the music theory subreddit. I can't remember. It was one of the two. And they were talking about struggling with some of the ear training stuff in their college music theory classes. And I gave a suggestion in that thread of some things that person can do. And I wanted to do a video about it, mainly to show Hot Cross Buns 44 what I was talking about. And it could be helpful for others that are working on learning their intervals and such. And the question they had was, they were struggling to hear the difference between some tougher intervals or some intervals that were tough for them. And I gave an example about perfect fourths and perfect fifths, because I can remember when I was in undergrad music theory that seemed to be something that a lot of folks struggled with. And this method, this is not the only method to learn it or to learn intervals, but this is what I was suggesting. And what I posted was take a pitch, for example, middle C, and play the perfect fourth above it. And listen to how that sounds. And then, for this example, we're doing perfect fourth and perfect fifth. Play that same pitch, and then play the perfect fifth above it. And then play them one after another. And then ask yourself what's different, but not what's different as far as hey, I've played a different note, but the sound quality of the interval. What is different? To me, this interval has a much more compressed sound than this, which is a much more open sound, which compared to the octave is a more compressed sound compared to the octave, but is less of a compressed sound than a third. But anyway, so the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth. Now, let's say that you are struggling to hear any difference between the two. It's like perfect fourth and perfect fifth sound the same to me. Well, doing this method to get the perfect fourth and comparing that to the perfect fifth, you know there is a difference. There has to be a difference. You are physically playing different notes on the keyboard. And so the next question becomes, what sounds different to you? And try to get past the, I'm playing a different note, but what does the sound quality sound like? And I can't, no one can tell you what that's going to be. We all hear stuff differently. Now, there's some similarities with how we'll hear stuff, but what I hear between perfect fourth and perfect fifth, I might describe that differently than how Hot Cross Buns 44 or any other person would hear it. But it's taken the time to listen to the aural differences between the intervals is what will help. And unfortunately, there's no shortcut with that. I mean, some things you're going to hear the difference quicker than other things. It's just the nature of the beast. But just know that some time is going to be involved. The next challenge, and this is probably where Hot Cross Buns 44 was having an issue, because this is more challenging to do, is, so we've worked on middle C, we have an idea of what this perfect fourth sounds like, so let's take it to other pitches. Is that a perfect fourth? Yes, it is. Is this a perfect fourth? No, that's a perfect fifth. All right, so the challenge there is, what you have to do is take that sound of the perfect fourth, know how that, or learn rather, how that sounds differently against the perfect fifth. Then what I would do is take one of the intervals. For this case, I'm going to take the perfect fifth. I'm going to play the perfect fifth using a variety of different notes. And each time you play those, and you would probably do this a little bit slower, especially if you're first learning it, each time you play those, you're asking yourself, yes, I hear different notes, but is the sound quality of that interval, the timbre of the interval, is it the same? And the answer should be yes. But rather than just accepting that it's yes, ask yourself, can you actually hear it being the same? So then you would take these perfect fifths, and as you're playing a few of these, throw in a perfect fourth. Know that it's coming, and then ask yourself, how did that sound different? And if the answer is no, try that same set of intervals again. Until you can hear what the difference is, because mentally there has to be a difference. I mean, where you put your fingers on the keyboard, you're playing a perfect fourth for that third interval. So the challenge is, what sounds different about it, and that takes time. But what I wanted to do was take a couple of minutes and explain a bit about the method that I had suggested to Hot Cross Buns 44. I hope it helps him or her out with their study of theory. And then if you are not Hot Cross Buns 44 and you're watching this, I hope that you find it useful too. If you did, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I do content on both music and IT. The music content is going to be mainly geared right now toward music theory. That's a love and passion of mine. So I hope you found it useful, and I will see you the next time.